Let's get her started.
We run the city, we run the team.
Yay. We ready to go, y'all? Day 9. Day 9. Ooh, I think today gonna be a big day. I think today is gonna be a big day. That was nice. So, I expect court to be in session momentarily. Yesterday was pretty dramatic, y'all. It was pretty dramatic. I think today is going to intensify. I think today will be intensified dramatically. Because I believe they're going to be bringing in some doctors and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that. We might just get to the bottom of this, y'all. We might just get to the bottom of it. Hope everybody had a great evening and good start to their day today. Remember, you are loved. One love, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Let's go. It's 9 o'clock Eastern. Y'all know it's early as hell for me. Hear the bird, listen. It's like they rapping. Make sure you guys get the thumbs up in. We are in session. Thumbs up, subscribe.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber, and thanks for joining us. Now, before we get into our trial coverage for Jamell Demons, which we've been covering quite extensively, I do want to let our viewers know that we are in verdict watch for former school officer Scott Peterson. This is the 60-year-old who faces child neglect and culpable negligence charges for not intervening in the 2018 Parkland school shooting. The jury deliberated for about an hour and 25 minutes yesterday. They're slated to start up again, and we're going to keep a very careful eye on that courtroom feed, let you know if we get any updates on a verdict in that case. But right now, we want to go back to the trial of the Murder on My Mind rapper out of Broward County, Florida. The 24-year-old stands trial for 2 counts of first-degree murder for the 2018 shooting deaths of his friends, victims Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. They were with the defendant and his co-defendant, Cortland Henry, on their way back from a recording session when this shooting occurred. Now, Demons and Henry claim that it was a drive-by shooting that took the lives of their friends, but authorities later found evidence to suggest that the shooting took place from inside the vehicle and that this was a staged drive-by shooting. Yesterday was an interesting day. We heard the continuing testimony of undercover detective Danny Polo. Polo, who originally took the stand, as you might remember, in a ski mask, was instructed to take it off for the remainder of his testimony. Yesterday, this came after the defense proved that he wasn't adequately protecting his identity on all other platforms, citing a picture of Polo's face on his wife's Cash App. He was taken by surprise. I'm sure that was an uncomfortable conversation with him and his wife last night. Now, as for the substance of his testimony, well, he pointed to gang signs used in the defendant's social media posts and music videos, and he read through many text messages believed to be sent from the defendant. So here with me to tell us a little bit more about what happened yesterday, and inside that courtroom is Law and Crime's very own Terry Austin, who is our boots on the ground. She is live in that Broward County courthouse. Good morning, Terry. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jesse.
So let's talk about what happened with Danny Polo's testimony. What were some of the other big moments? What did we learn from him?
Well, I think the biggest moment was the cross-examination. As you mentioned, Christine Bradley, the prosecutor, she actually went through the text messages, and it did seem like to me, and I think the rest of that audience and the jury, that some of those texts and most of those texts came from Melly. But on cross-examination, David Howard, who is one of the defense counsel, made it very clear that most of those texts, over 80%, and Polo had to admit, most of those texts were coming to Melly and not from Melly, and most of the time Melly was not even answering the text. And he also made it clear that the substance of those texts was this: the mafia, that's what they're claiming, the gang, was trying to get Melly, and Melly basically was ignoring it. So, for instance, the Godfather, that's who is one of the top leaders in the gang, in the Bloods, was trying to reach out and get Melly to join, but Melly just ignored it, even after threats of death. And others in the gang, Herc was one of them, who we know is Jaquan Burton. He also was trying to reach out to Melly, but most of the time Melly ignored those. So I think it was really pivotal that the defense clarified where those text messages were coming from and how Melly was responding. It wasn't Melly going after the gang. It was the other way around.
Okay, let's clarify this a little bit, because did the defense accept the fact that Melly was using that phone? Did they at all say, hey, was it not possible that it wasn't him communicating? That maybe, you remember, one of their big themes is that this phone or series of phones were used by a lot of different people. They didn't highlight that yesterday?
Well, I think the defense avoided who owned the phone. The point was so many people, like you said, Jesse, were using that phone. There were some times, according to the dates that the prosecution was using, that Melly was behind bars. So that phone is registered, I believe, to Melly's mom. He used the phone. Many other people used the phone. And the defense is not focusing on, okay, whose name is the phone in. The defense is focusing on all of these messages that are coming through that phone clearly are not from Melly. So the focus is not ownership. The focus is who it was using that phone.
Now, you mentioned what the defense did on their cross-examination. Were there any points in the direct examination of Detective Polo where he cited a communication from, let's just assume it was YNW Melly, any specific comments that were made allegedly by the defendant that really show he might have been a part of this gang, or that he was a part of gang culture or engaged in violence? Was there anything that really helped the prosecution's case from yesterday?
Well, Jesse, if there was, it went over my head. And if it went over my head because I'm paying close attention and I'm taking copious notes, it went over the jury's head. I will say it took me by surprise when the prosecutor asked Danny Polo whether or not Melly ever admitted that he's a gang member. And Polo said, yes, he did. And she basically said, how did he admit that? And he said, the fact that Melly is in all of these pictures, he's using these signs, he uses it in his music, that is an admission. You would not be doing that. You would not be false flagging, is what he called it, if you were not really in that gang, if you weren't part of the Bloods or part of that subset, which is the G-Shine. So he's basically saying the admission comes in the fact that you see Melly using all these signs. But there was nothing in writing that I saw. Maybe they'll highlight it on closing. Nothing in writing that I saw from Melly saying, yes, I'm a gang member. Nothing like that. No smoking guns.
Well, where did we leave off yesterday, and what are we going to see at the start of today?
Well, interestingly enough, at the very end of the day, there was a discussion between counsel about this video that David Howard found on YouTube, essentially trying to refute what Polo was saying. And the video was giving signals and a tutorial on hand signs. And basically, the defense is trying to say, look, anybody can learn hand signs, and people do it for a variety of reasons. And he searched and found a tutorial on hand signs. So the judge said that can get in, and prosecution was trying to argue that there was a Richardson violation, meaning it was prejudicial because he's just now coming up with it. But the judge said, look, Polo opened the door. He said he couldn't find any tutorials. Howard went back, did his homework, stayed up late, found a tutorial, and the judge said it can come in. So I'm expecting to see that today.
Okay, now let's talk about what we also, haven't seen from the defense, right? I mean, they're going to be calling their own witnesses, we assume. Do you have any idea about what the defense's case is going to look like?
Well, first of all, they've done an excellent job, in my opinion, cross-examining the witnesses who have been up there, each and every one, on the DNA, on the guns, on obviously what Polo was saying. But I think for their own case, they're going to get their own experts. And I expect them to go from the beginning to the end. So if you recall, we got that very long lesson on ballistics. I'm positive we're going to get an expert from the defense on ballistics. And I think we're also going to see an expert on DNA. None of Melly's DNA was in that car except for the backseat passenger driver side on the door handle. So I think we're going to get an expert to say, okay, yeah, you saw him getting in the car. So obviously multiple experts, and we might actually see some individuals who will come in to support Melly as far as that gang membership is concerned.
Do you think he's going to take the stand at all? I don't think it's particularly necessary, but do you think he's going to take the stand? I mean, the defendant, YNW Melly.
You just hit it on the head, Jesse. I don't think it's necessary, not based on what I've seen so far. Looking at the evidence that's come in so far, I don't think they've proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. If it continues this way, Melly does not need to get on that stand. It's too much of a risk, as we all know, during cross-examination, opening the door, having him being judged by the jury. So I definitely think if it continues this way, he should not get on that stand.
Now, talk to me about the atmosphere. You're in that courtroom every day. You're watching the defendant. Walk me through what you're observing from him, and also if you're noticing any interesting characters in the courtroom as well.
Well, the moms are in the courtroom. So Melly's mom is in the courtroom, and we have at least one other mom from one of the victims in the courtroom. Yesterday it was interesting because we had high school students. There were about 20 high school students coming in to look, and I think that was interesting. Melly did notice that they walked in. He gave a little smile. He's being very serious, Jesse. I don't know if he read comments from the very beginning, that first week where he was more, jovial, but he's extremely serious right now, paying very close attention, having conversations with his attorneys about, I suppose, strategy. I will say, Judge Murphy is getting a little frustrated, in my opinion. I believe he wants this trial to move on. He's allowing the defense to do his objections. Many of the objections are sustained. I think he's getting a little bit impatient as far as the prosecution is concerned. You may recall she was sanctioned for not producing some evidence, and last night she said she wasn't clear on the judge's ruling as far as that video is concerned. And at the end, he said, I hope that was clear enough for you. And so I think he's ready to get this trial at the conclusion stage, and certainly at the stage where the defense is putting on their case. But the courtroom in general, I think people are very, attentive to what's going on. They want to listen to every word. So far, that jury is really paying close attention.
All right. Our eyes and our ears. Terry Austin, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse. See you soon.
See you soon. So Terry's going to jump back into the courtroom. She'll be back on later today. We are going to take a break. We're waiting to jump live in this next day of the YNW Melly murder trial. Stay with us here on Law and Crime. We'll be right back right after this.
Yay. So they'll be right back after this. Is it just me, or sometimes I just disagree with the lady? And we all had a right to. People gonna disagree with me. I don't see, and this is why we have a jury. I'm sure some people on the jury feel like me. I don't see it the same way they do so far. I believe the state has made some valid points. To me, it seems like the defense sometimes is just like fumbling a little bit. They've been kind of lax with knowing where certain documents are. Even yesterday on the cross, he kind of was fumbling around. You know, I don't know. I can't wait as it moves forward. We get into this. I think like maybe some of the medical evidence is going to, sway the jury maybe one way or the other. Because again, it's science and people have a hard time, going against science. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me put a poll up. Let me put a poll up. Whoop. What? That was wild. I'm gonna make it simple. Shays, what's up, my boy? We back at it, Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Somebody said, Detective Snitch, come back. Oh, man. Hey, how y'all feel about Danny Polo? He gave up a lot to come to this Melly trial. Yesterday, he said, I didn't like how the defense was like, so you listen to hip hop or rap or whatever he said, and he was like, yeah. And he basically was trying to say like, oh, you just started listening to rap. Danny Polo was like, nah, I listened to it my whole life. It seemed like it took the defense attorney by surprise. He was like, he said, nah, I've been listening to he said, I just now start listening to other types of music. I said, okay, Danny Polo. It's jacked up, though. I mean, since he is like a hip-hop head, he was like, are you a fan of Kevin Gates? They started asking that man about Kevin Gates lyrics and all kind of crap yesterday, man. I was crying. But Danny Polo can't do undercover work anymore. That's over with. We are back in session, so we're going to see what's popping.
All right, welcome back, everybody, and thanks for coming back to our coverage of the YNW Melly double murder trial here on Law and Crime. Today is day 9 of this trial against Jamell Demons, who faces 2 counts of first-degree murder in the shooting deaths of his 2 friends. And proceedings should be starting up any minute. I'm keeping a very careful eye on that feed. And this is all going to happen in the Broward County Courthouse. But as we wait, I want to go back to yesterday's cross-examination of undercover detective Danny Polo. We talked a little bit about it with a reporter on the ground, Terry Austin. Let's see it unfold for ourselves.
Detective Polo.
Mr. Howard.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Don't know where to begin.
Sure, it'll be a pleasure.
We'll try and make it. So, we talked earlier when you and I spoke during this trial a bit earlier. We spoke about your expertise.
Yes.
And I think, I'm not sure if you agreed, but I had posited to you that your expertise, at least as far as the court has recognized it, is a relatively recent phenomenon.
Being declared An expert in court, or being allowed to be testified as an expert in court, yes.
Okay. And that has, you've done it 6 times?
I believe so.
This would be the 7th or the 6th?
Okay, this is the 7th.
This is 7th, okay. And that all came about ever since February of last year, or maybe even later?
No. The first time I recall during our depositions, I told you the first time I testified, I believe, was in maybe 2015.
Okay. I think you had told us back in February 17, 2022, that you had not yet been recognized as an expert.
Not recognized. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question. That was my fault. I testified in a gang sentencing hearing. It wasn't, there was no need to tender me as an expert.
Okay. So it wasn't in an officially recognized expert capacity.
Correct.
You were offering information in the course of a sentencing based upon your involvement in an investigation, right?
I was testifying to the facts that a person being sentenced was a gang member, and basically the same thing we've done today.
Okay. And your first gang investigation was in 2016?
I started my first gang investigation, I believe, in 2016, yes.
Okay. And you've been doing a lot of gang investigations in this area. When I'm saying area, I mean geographical area, South Florida.
I've done personally, South Florida, some out of New York, Chicago, and California. And Arizona.
What about South Florida?
South Florida as well.
Okay. And you told us just a little while ago you listen to rap music.
Yes, sir.
Because you're hip, right?
I just grew up listening to it.
Okay.
I've only recently started listening to other stuff.
and so you were familiar with the name YNW Melly as he became famous in the rap world.
How to answer that without being rude? I knew it was at YNW Melly. I don't follow a lot of when he started off SoundCloud rappers. So I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying I didn't know him until he started becoming more famous.
Right. So as he became famous, you became familiar with the name YNW Melly.
Yes, sir.
In the context of a rapper.
Yes, sir.
And you, throughout all of your investigations, until you were asked to get involved in this case, you had not encountered the name YNW Melly or Jamell Demons in any of your gang investigations in South Florida.
I believe there was a gang investigation that was started, but I wasn't involved in it. And
Okay.
I know of it because it was run out of my building.
Okay, but when we deposed you on February 17th of 2022, you indicated that you had never encountered the name YNW Melly or Jamell Demons in the context of a gang investigation before you were asked to be involved in this case.
Correct. I'm just saying, since then, now I've been made aware that there was a previous investigation that I was not aware of.
Okay, now you're saying that somebody told you something, but you weren't involved.
Correct.
Okay, so
Excuse me, can we approach?
All right, let's talk about this. I'm joined this morning by trial attorneys Janine Atamian and Bob Hilla. It's great to have you both here. Janine, I'm going to start with you. We heard a little bit about this from Terry Austin. I mean, this is the defense starting off with their cross-examination. What did you make of where they were going?
So at first, he's kind of poking holes in his status as an expert. Is he in fact an expert or not? He, just recently started giving expert testimony, and he's saying, well, back in 2015, I actually testified, but it wasn't as an expert. So they're kind of poking holes in him with that, because remember, he's the witness that gets up there and says that just making those symbols is what was the admission that he was a gang member. And now he's talking about, well, you've been a gang investigator this whole time. Did you ever have any investigation that had Melly in it? And he's got to say no. Now he's saying that he heard from somebody that there was one. But remember, he also had the deposition. And during that deposition, he said that there was not.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And then, Bob, we're listening to this and we're thinking about exactly what the relevance is here. How important is this testimony from Detective Polo for the prosecution's overall case against YNW Melly?
Well, I think it's real important because, without the gang connection here, you don't have motive. And then also, because it's a death penalty case, you don't have aggravating circumstance. So the problem is they got to create some real strong evidence. And if that gets undermined by the defense on this case, you could have some real problems for the state.
And you had mentioned to me that it's not just about the motive, but it's also about the aggravating factor for the death penalty.
Right, and that's not an issue technically that the jury's going to be charged with reviewing here. But the basis for that testimony, would be the same because it would coincide, obviously, with the motive testimony. So they want to get both in.
Janine, how confident are you in the prosecution's case? I've been hearing from a lot of experts, and look, myself, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm 100% convinced that this is beyond a reasonable doubt that YNW Melly committed these murders.
So I'm with you, Jesse. I don't think that they've proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And I also think that, the defense attorneys are really astute at poking holes. Their cross-examinations have been thorough. And again, like when they brought up all of the text messages and got the detective to say, well, he's not the one sending them. And when they get out there that other people use this phone, at one point, he's behind bars when these messages are coming up. So I think that they're doing a great job. I'd love to see, what else the defense does when they start to tell their story and start to put their case on. But so far, they're doing excellent.
Okay, so I have my two top experts with me as we wait to jump live in this courtroom. I'm very curious to see the continuation of the testimony today and where this case goes next. So stay with us here on Law and Crime. We're going to be focusing entirely on the YNW Melly murder trial. But of course, as I mentioned, if we have an update in the Scott Peterson case, we'll make sure to let you know. Stay with us.
All right, y'all. I don't know if it's because they're lawyers and they see stuff that maybe just a lay person like myself doesn't see. I mean, I'm watching it. I don't feel like I'm a dummy. Let me stop for somebody to say something in the comments like, nah, but for real though, like, I don't see everything like they see it, but, because some of the messages, like, if I'm locked up and, my phone is still out there, I'm going to tell people use my phone too. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that, like, about this case is, like, if you from, like, the streets, like, yeah, you gonna do or, like, the text messages. Let's just talk about those, right? It was a bunch of text messages on there from, like, 2019. So all those text messages that happened after the incident and he didn't respond, I wouldn't respond either. Because they about to tie, or you're not going to want to be tied to the gang and community. You already communicated enough with the gang back and forth. But they did bring up something from 2018 where he didn't respond. It could be because he was on, if I was the state, I was on redirect, I would have been like, was he on tour? Do we know the reason? I at least would have threw that out there. Do you know the reason why he didn't respond? So I feel like those are some angles maybe they could have came, or still, cause I think he's still on the stand. So I think she said at the end of court yesterday, she said she had about 15 to 20 minutes of cross-examination or redirect after the defense completes its cross-examination, I just think I would throw that out there. Like, do you know why Melly didn't respond? And I would get Detective Polo to say no. Could it be because he was busy? Could it be because of this? You have to put that in the jury's head, okay? You know, it's not like Melly just sat around gangbanging all day. You know, he's a famous rapper. One of the most famous rappers at the time. So I'm sure he had shows, recording sessions, interviews. So, like, I'm pretty sure Melly wasn't on the block every day gangbanging. So, you know, if I was an attorney, but you know, they've been doing this a lot longer than me, but just from a lay person, and that's why I'm not up here as no expert. I don't know the legal system in and out. I'm just a regular citizen watching jurisprudence at its best. That's all. Or at its worst. Who knows? But again, if he's innocent of these charges, I do not want to see an innocent man go to prison. I also don't want to see a guilty man walk free. You know what I mean? And most of the people say free Melly, I don't think they care if he did it or not. Most of the people that say free Melly in these comments and under all these posts, I don't believe they care if he did it or not. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I got a poll up.
Photographs for the medical examiner. Did you go over those, Mr. Adelstein?
No, I did not. I apologize, Judge.
I'm sorry. Can I see him again?
Where's the thing that's so crooked on there?
I'll look at it. I'm in the same order. But I'll look at it. Just one.
That one for me too.
Ask her if she had one for me. Frederick, thank you.
I have the contact sheet on that. I don't have an extra set of color copies.
You want me to hand this to this call?
No, so you can, the circle ones are in there.
Oh, the circle ones in there.
Yeah, so the ones that went.
Where's Detective Polo?
I am not in contact with him, Your Honor, because he's still on the stand. I can see if Gary has him somewhere.
Just a few of them are usually. Where's Detective Polo?
Yeah, I'm over.
Yes, sir.
So yesterday, during his presentation, State mentioned the lyrics to his song and did not put in any evidence of texting to the lyrics. I have here the lyrics, and the State has reviewed it and has verified its accuracy. And we intend to mark it for identification and show this witness. Just want to make sure.
Without objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. Don't read that. Don't read that.
He's not ready for it, but I just want to make sure.
You want to switch it?
I'll wait for him to come.
Not Polo was late. What the hell? Polo. Marco.
I'll make another announcement, but I did.
No, not the song.
Man. Courts. Hospitals. Don't it just seem like a lot of these places, it just be a lot of like waiting around for no reason. It just seemed like it's just, I couldn't be a judge. Look at them. I'd have fell asleep on the stand. I'm going to look that up in a minute. It gotta be a bunch of videos of judges falling asleep on the stand. Gotta be. It's just gotta be.
I set phones on.
Janet Strictly, there's a one sheet which has all of the photos that were taken, so that Your Honor can.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the niggas out. Yeah. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't know. They cut the sound. They wasn't talking about nothing anyway. Look, as soon as I turn away from this, it's gonna be something else. So you guys, I don't know if y'all follow who Nature Boy is, but I think Nature Boy trial is gonna be live streamed. So I definitely will be covering Nature Boy's trial, cause we kind of got some history. My One Love family and Nature Boy's organization. Not gonna call them a cult, cause I'm sure it's gonna be on trial and you know. But yeah, Nature Boy out of Atlanta. I don't even know his real name. I'm gonna find it out. But pretty interesting case of a man claiming to be God and having followers, and it's a long story behind it. So, hey, OneLoveFam.com. Go check us out on OneLoveFam.com. So, yeah, gonna be covering the Nature Boy. If it actually is live stream, we'll be covering that trial. Look, John J. Murphy III. It's my guy. Did you see him yesterday? He snapped on Miss Lady Prosecutor. Yeah, he went in on her. He got tired of that. He's like, look, I've ruled. I don't want to hear another word. What does that say up there? Professionalism and civility. Anything less will not be tolerated.
Stay ready to proceed. That's ready to proceed.
Yes, sir.
Cool Breeze. What's good, my boy?
Go ahead and bring the jury in. Jury entry. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. The record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, Mr. Demings, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, ladies and gentlemen, jury, our witness, Detective Danny Polo remains on the stand. I think when we broke, the defense is still on its cross-examination of the witness, so if you're ready, you may proceed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a good night, and we're happy to see you back. All right, so we'll start shortly.
Thank you, sir. Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Howard.
So I wanted to start off by discussing videos.
Yes, sir.
You reviewed a lot of videos in preparation or as part of your assessment.
Yes.
Of whether or not Melly is in the game, right?
Yes.
You viewed videos that he posted online?
Yes.
Videos that were posted of him?
Yes.
And his music videos?
Yes.
And you would agree that in a lot of his music videos, there are a lot of firearms, right?
Some.
And that's not unique to Melly.
No.
A lot of artists in their videos have a lot of firearms, right?
Yeah.
And we saw yesterday in some of the exchanges where Melly is asking, seems to be like inquiring about the availability of certain firearms.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about that long thread, it was I think that was specific to magazines, not the actual firearms.
Okay, it was magazines.
Gun-related things.
Okay, and some of them were, he asked for clear magazines.
Sure.
And you said that makes some kind of an aesthetic difference, a difference in appearance, not difference in function.
Right.
Right? So if you wanted to use a firearm in a way that it is manufactured to be used, it doesn't matter whether or not you have a clear drum or an opaque drum. Right?
No, I think I explained that it's just a preference thing.
It's a preference, a visual thing.
Yeah, since you can see the bullets, it's just some people want to see that.
Right. And so it wouldn't make a difference in its function, it'll make a difference in how it appears on a video, for example.
Correct.
Okay. You were telling us that you were retained to render an opinion in a case regarding the rapper Drake.
Yeah.
And your opinion was that he was not a gang member.
Correct.
And you listen to Drake songs.
Yeah.
Right? And you hear references to violence in those songs.
Some of them.
Okay. All right. So the reference to violence in songs by rappers is not unique to Melly.
No.
Right? And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a gang. Right?
No, anyone can commit an act of violence.
Okay. We also saw among the several videos, you said you reviewed videos of Melly that were his music videos?
Yes.
Videos posted of him?
Correct.
And videos he posted?
Right.
Doing all manner of things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we saw one yesterday, and before putting it on before playing it for the jury, Ms. Bradley asked whether or not you were familiar with a rapper named Kevin Gates.
Right.
Are you?
Yeah.
And the lyrics, and then Ms. Bradley played a video, right?
Right.
And in that video, there were Kevin Gates lyrics being recited.
I believe so.
And did you help Ms. Bradley decipher what was being said?
I don't recall. It's been, when was it that we got the post? Or that I got the post, sorry?
I don't know when you got it. I know that it was played for you yesterday.
Right.
Right. And during your testimony, you reviewed it. Right?
Correct.
And Ms. Bradley made some mention of the fact that at the end it says both of them, right?
I don't think she said that yet.
You agree with that?
I would have to listen to it again. I don't recall now.
Okay. You don't recall what it said?
No, sir. I don't have the song memorized.
Okay, so you're not saying that it says both of them at the end. That was just Ms. Bradley saying that.
I'd like to listen to it so I can answer it correctly.
Okay.
Thanks.
Before we do that, I want to present you. May I approach you on it?
What, Counsel?
I would like to present him with what has been marked as a copy of, for identification, marked for identification of defendant's exhibit C.
Yes.
Thank you.
Without
And
objection, Your Honor.
Without objection. Okay. Thank you. Would you take a look at that?
Yes, sir.
And you agree with me that those are the lyrics to Kevin Gates' song 438?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to focus your attention on a part of that.
Okay.
Glasses. Can you read this? It's a little tiny.
It's tiny, but
You think you can?
I might be able to pull it off.
Okay. I'm gonna wanna. Where's Gary? I lost Gary. Oh my gosh. Adversary though I may be.
You're going to display this Exhibit 3 to the, or seated jury?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Without objection.
Do you want to admit it first?
Ladies and gentlemen, just remember the admonition, this is not something that's in evidence. It's being used as some type of demonstrative exhibit to assist in explaining or illustrating the witness's testimony. The testimony of the witness is the evidence, and how this demonstrative will not be with you back in the jury room during your deliberations unless it's later received evidence. The evidence is the testimony of the witness. All right? Proceed.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. How do I flip from this to that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. You see the part that I've highlighted there
Yes, sir.
on Defendant's Exhibit C for identification.
Yes.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the ends I killed. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Right.
Okay. I want to play this now for you.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the niggas out. Yeah. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Is that identical to you?
Can I?
Okay. Well, actually,
Can
not
I read along
identical.
as he says it?
He doesn't say the word kill. He uses a gesture for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't play it again.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the niggas out. Yeah. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Okay.
Split screen, Mr. Howard?
Okay. You heard that?
Yeah, I'm hearing it. Like I said, I can't memorize the lyrics.
No, that's fine.
I just want to see it side by side.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be difficult.
Split screen. No, I know you're not. I know you're not. It's my fault.
Say the wrong thing, I'll get impeached.
We want you to do that.
No regrets for the shit I did. That also means for the niggas out. Yeah. 4:30 a.m. Never say when.
Yep. Except for leaving out killed and
The word killed.
gang something.
Okay. Yesterday, Ms. Bradley said, did you hear them say both of them? Yesterday, when she played that.
Yeah.
You
No. Now that I'm listening to it, no.
You don't hear that?
No.
Okay. So you didn't help her decipher that before, did you?
No, sir.
Okay. It's identical, except for the gesture in place of the word kill.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. The defense would like to move in defendant's Exhibit C for identification.
Without objection.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Evans-Mark. Defendant C, is that right? Identification will be admitted as
To me, that was a whole lot to do about nothing.
free, or is it something
Nothing.
else in evidence by the defense? Marked for exhibits or for in evidence?
What will be defense one?
Right, defense one. There's nothing else.
Gary, get me back to this.
So
Exclusive.
defense one.
To the, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you're telling us you didn't assist the state in coming up with the conclusion that it says both of them at the end?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, we were also speaking yesterday about the fact that Melly was largely unresponsive to many of the overtures that were being made, the attempts to recruit him, right?
I think he was already recruited, but what you're saying is he wasn't responding to the people that were messaging him.
Okay.
Within the organizations.
Okay. And I had gone through a list of, or a demonstration of several messages that were not being responded to, right?
Correct.
And I think I had asked you later on in my examination whether that was Gino, and you were like, no, that's not Gino.
Yeah, there was, we went through two different, I think, text threads. One was Gino and one was Herc.
Okay. Well, let's go through Gino's.
Sure.
Okay. Start with page 30 of Government's Exhibit number 70. Is 70 the 140 pages?
Yes.
Okay. Pan out there. Visually, as much as it can. What do you want to do? Pan it out to 4 pages, but it's not going that further. That's it.
There's a light on here if you want.
Okay. Visually, we can look at the messages reflected in page 30 of State's Exhibit 70, and we can see, first of all, that the person communicating with the 9807 number is Gino. Okay.
Yes.
And at least we can see that there are no responses to any of these messages, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, let's try and go through some of them. And the time, 10/4/2018. Just talked to him. He said that wasn't towards nobody. Okay, he's continuing a conversation from or post that he made before, right?
Right. It appears to be.
And that's at 9:14. Then 2 days later, without a response, at 12:05, it says, I'm on the line with Tall GF. Who's Tall GF in lingo?
Gino's, like the Godfather in that lineup, his name is Stretch. So
Okay.
I assume that's a reference to him being tall.
Tall, right, okay. I'm on the line with Tall Godfather. He wants to sit down with you and Jay Green. Me, you, Jay Green, and him. See that?
Yes, sir.
And that's on 10/6.
Yeah.
So that would be a pretty important meeting because the Godfather wants to sit down with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's on 10/6 at 12:05. 10/6 at 12:05, he reiterates, me, you, him, and Jay Green.
Yes.
No response?
No.
So the next day, 10/7, 4:40, last, when you free?
No response.
No response. That whole day goes by. Next day, 10/8, 12:40, 3:40. To stay in tune is to communicate, bro. If you feel like it's too much, I think is what it's meant to say, for you, can line up, if it's, sorry, let me go from the top. To stay in tune is to communicate, bro. If you feel like it's too much, you can line up elsewhere, but you won't get the perks and respect you get now. The choice, apparently, is yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's implied, I guess.
And that was on 10/8. Any response?
No.
Okay.
Wasn't read for several weeks.
Sure.
I'm so sorry.
So we fast forwarded now to 10/13. So now the Godfather wants to sit down with you, no response. Hey man, you got to communicate, or if it's too much for you, line up elsewhere, right? No response.
Correct.
And then 10/13. That would be 5 days later.
Right.
Just cut a fool off that.
Yes.
Whatever that means. Okay. That's 30. $31. It's Bool. I wish you nothing but the best, and if you need me, I'm here. 10/13, 9/27. See it?
Yes.
Okay. 4 days later, 10/17. Speak your mind like a man. Don't have a fool guessing. So Gino is now getting frustrated with this lack of response. You agree with that?
I agree. It also, like that first message you read, it kind of seems like we're missing some context of conversations that might not be in these threads. I'm just, because some of the stuff doesn't make sense the way
right.
It's almost like a continuation of a conversation that already happened.
It might seem that way, but
There's no way to tell.
Right. So the word you're looking for is you're speculating.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So finally gets a response after all of that on 10/23, 2018. Now, it appears that none of these messages were even opened until that day. You agree with that?
Yeah, I think most of them have the same time stamp, 10/30/51.
And the response is beloved.
Right.
Okay. Not, hold up, man, I missed the Godfather. Right, wasn't that?
That's why I think we're missing some conversations that were had, not via text message. Because,
and you can speculate all day long.
Yeah, I think it's common sense.
Okay.
But, okay. You're right.
Do you have any proof of any of the things that you are speculating to have occurred, sir?
We have the phone extraction. If I go through call logs, there might be something there.
And it might be a Martian that made a call. Okay, all right. So, in response to that 10/23/2018, at 10:38, Gina responds on the same day. Hit me when you're free. Got to get another one. Right?
Right.
And then he sends the oath.
Correct.
On 10/24, that's not opened until that 18.
Yeah, I can't see the date, but I believe you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So no urgency with that either.
Correct.
And it says that same day he texts him again. There's no response to the oath, right?
Not to these messages, no.
And he texts him, that's the oath, me and you need to come up with a handle.
Yes.
So he's a gang member, and he's in, he doesn't have a handle yet, and he's just now seeing the oath, right?
Not according to the email chain.
Okay.
Received earlier the month before.
Okay.
This would just be a second time for sending him the oath.
And now we're on to page 32. If we pan out, you'll agree with me. There's no response to anything
See, I trip out.
going
He
on.
never
page
makes
32.
the dude like just answer the question. He always allows him to get those extra, and he does it on purpose to just.
First message. 1024, 1238. Handles a name for the books.
Yes.
So he's not in the books yet.
We don't know that.
Okay. We know he doesn't have a handle for the books. We know that.
We don't know that according to these text messages.
He just said we need to come up with one.
Right at this point in time.
What are you saying?
Saying at 1024, when he's asking for the handle, they hadn't come up with one yet. We don't know if he has one.
Okay. And then at 1024, at 9:36, so 8 hours goes by. Bust at me when you're free. I need to skyline with you. Right?
Correct.
Call me. I need to talk to you about something.
Yes.
Because eight hours has gone by. Right?
Yes.
10:25, 9:08. Next day, 24 hours later, just about. I don't know what happened. Let me know what the move is. Right?
Right.
10:26 at 12:34. Bro, you good?
Right.
10:26 at 5:35:30. We here for you, bro. Just let us know what you need.
Right.
Yeah? Next day, 10:27, 11:49. Now, 10:26 is the day that Melly's friends, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas, were killed.
Right.
Okay. You see a message, we here for you, bro. Just let us know what you need. See that?
Yes.
Sounds like some form of comforting and condolence to you.
You want me to speculate?
Okay. Don't. Next. I went through what you're going through. It hurts, but it's like when you go into the next level, the people you love die. It's so they can protect you better from the sky. See that?
I see that.
Okay. Now, prior to those communications, was there any communication at all where you saw where Melly was complaining to Gino or anybody else or Gino or Stretch? His name?
Stretch.
Stretch. Stretch. Where he's complaining to Gino or Stretch about Anthony Williams?
No, sir.
You see anywhere where he's complaining about Christopher Thomas?
To those two members?
Yes.
No.
Do you see anywhere where they're putting them on a plate for him or anybody else?
Not on those messages.
Okay. All right. On page 35, you said, one of the words that was used. Let's look at page 35. I see a message there, the last one from the 9807 number, whoever had it, Melly or not.
Yes, this one?
It says, on the homies.
Yes.
See that?
Yes, sir.
And you said that's another indication because homies is a term that Buzz used.
I also explained that it's just also a term that just people use in general. It's not just Bloods, it's all gang members.
Okay.
It's in reference to, that's my big homie, that's my little homie, that's the big homie.
Okay.
You know, but like I said, if you just say he's my homie, and you're just
I need all my homies to
doesn't mean
hit that
anything.
subscribe.
Okay. So you have homies.
And all my homies hit that thumbs
I
up.
have homies.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope so.
All right.
Hey, good morning, Miss V.
Let's go now to page 47. Now remember, these guys are trying to recruit, right? They're trying to recruit, or you say he has already been recruited.
It appears he was recruited because they sent him the documents for the next step up.
Okay. So, I think you used the term clout chase, and I didn't use that term. You used that term, right?
Correct.
Okay. Tell me if this would be the type of thing you would refer to as clout chasing. On page 47. Post me for my belated birthday, Herc. I'm only asking because I got hella hoes last time you posted me.
Yeah, I testified to that already.
I know you did.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm asking you, is that the type of stuff
Yes.
that you are referring to?
Yes, sir.
As clout chasing?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to page 48. Well, let's start at the top of the page. And this comes in on January 6, 2019, 3 months to the day after the incident at issue in this case.
Yes.
Okay. On another note, one of them Pyru ends reached out to me saying something about some